What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we have a bit of an update for that Switch 2 story earlier in the week that was very strange, as apparently someone showed up to Reddit with a Switch 2 system. Well, now we're starting to hear exactly what the mods for that subreddit saw, and it's looking a bit sketchy. Go figure. We'll go over that, though, here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a big end-of-year sale that does have to do with physical games just in time for Christmas. And then we also have gameplay finally being shown for a title that's been hyped up quite a bit, and now, with the showing, seems to have Mass Effect fans very, very excited. So we'll go over that here today. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps it a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members of the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're going to start today with Secret Level, which is that Amazon series that has now technically concluded. They had 2 parts for it, and they're basically short stories or short episodes that range between all these different video game intellectual properties, and some episodes are better than others. Like, for example, the Armored Core episode I thought was really, really good. The PlayStation episode, not as much. I liked the Mega Man one, but it was like 5 minutes. However, it basically set things up nicely, got to the part where it seemed like it was really gonna get good, and then it just ended. So the fact that they are now moving into Season 2 as it has been greenlit, we can see this posted up. This is over on Deadline, saying Prime Video has renewed its freshman animated series Secret Level for a 2nd season. Additional new episodes for Season 1 was released on the streamer today. Now that, again, it ranges between a bunch. Sifu, New World, Unreal Tournament, Warhammer, Pac-Man, Crossfire, Armored Core, The Outer Worlds, Mega Man, Honor of Kings, and more. And the thing I'd like to see in Season 2, less episodes, but then be longer, right? Like, really focus in on a handful of intellectual properties that are popular enough. Like I think the Warhammer one was really cool, but I think that could actually be stretched out across a couple of episodes even. And then, yes, Mega Man, sure, could do a couple, or just one big full-fledged one. I even like kind of the unique direction for Pac-Man, and now that's seemingly becoming a game in that universe. So there's a lot of potential here for that, what has been described by many of these video game publishers as transmedia potential, and I think Secret Level could really end up being a cool thing if they approach it a bit differently, I feel like, in Season 2. But if you haven't seen any of them, go in, picking out a couple of IPs that you already like in terms of games, and see what the series does for you. Also, we have some interesting retro gaming news when it comes to translations, especially for a game that's actually never been available in English. And this is something you could see posted up. This is over on GitHub, but this is for Tales of Rebirth. It's the 0.9 full English beta, and you can download and patch Tales of Rebirth right now on the PlayStation 2. So, of course, you'll have to get your own ISO or file for it. I'm sure people can track that down. But then once patched, it seems to work fine. Like, you could play through this game technically for the first time in English right now. And look, I really do like seeing some of these just translation projects at least get to a point where it's playable for games that have never been available, at least for me anyway, in English, right? Like, if you're in Japan, it's probably like, oh yeah, Tales of Rebirth. I played that forever ago on the PS2, or even then, when it also went to PSP, but it never left Japan technically. So this is really, really cool. And one of the reasons I think having the modding community around it is a really, really good thing. So I don't know if I'll have time to play Tales of Rebirth at any point, especially in the near future, because there's so much stacked up, but it's just cool, especially for Tales fans who may have been waiting to be able to get their hands on this and play through it in English. It's currently available, so go check it out. Oh, and if you were interested in Fantasian Neo Dimension, but you didn't necessarily want to throw down all the money right away without trying it, there's actually a demo that's now available. We can see this over on Gamatsu, and the demo allows you to play through the first few hours of the game, and save data from the demo can carry over to the full game. At this time, it's available for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Doesn't seem that there is a PlayStation 4 version of the demo available now, which is kind of odd that that's been omitted. But anyway, for the other platforms, it's now there. And I think it would have been better, clearly, if they were able to put the demo out before the game released. It's better than nothing, and the fact that it's after its release, I'm sure it's maybe has cycled out of the news a bit, but still, if you were curious about it, I think it's definitely worth downloading to try out, especially just to get like the the unique visuals of it on screen right in front of you, because the way they created it was genuinely unique and I think stands out way more natively on the display in front of you, even opposed to just seeing it streamed on YouTube or something like that. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo and an update to that Switch 2 story from earlier in the week. First though, it does appear that there are high expectations for Nintendo's next generation launch. Go figure, it seemed like everyone's just kind of hanging out waiting for Nintendo to finally make that move, and then I kind of think everything's going to sort of explode online. There's going to be a ton of excitement around this device, provided they go in the direction that we all assume they will, with that hybrid model, it being backwards compatible as they said, and it not being too weird or out there, right? Well, it does appear that investors also kind of thinking that this is a good move, because, I mean, you can see this, Cirkin Toto pointed out, that Nintendo stock has continued this run-up, and at this time is an all-time high of just shy of 9,500 yen, with the market capitalization 12.3 trillion yen, or 80 billion US dollars. And as mentioned here, sky-high expectations with regard to the Switch 2. And I think this is more or less the market pricing in the Switch 2 announcement ahead of that announcement. So it might be weird when that announcement happens that you see the stock drop a little bit, because people are like, okay, that's the buy the rumor, sell the news moment, where you're like, okay, time to sell and move out, and then it'll probably then roll back up, because there'll be a lot of expectations around just revenue being generated by an extremely exciting and hyped up device as they head to launch. So in that regard, yes, Nintendo set up nicely for their eventual announcement, but because there's so many eyes on Nintendo, there are just a lot of like leaks, rumors, renderings, accessories being announced. It's all over the place right now, which has led to a bit of a fever pitch around Switch 2 rumors and reports and stuff. And it is to that point where even on Reddit, there is that person, Next Gen Handheld, who says that they have the system in hand. But they've been a little cagey, and as time has gone on, some of the answers have made less and less sense as people have been sort of grilling this person in the comments. And now we found out what that mod, because remember, a mod came back and said, yeah, they showed proof, and I can't believe they did, that they have this thing. Well, now we found out what they showed, and it even seems like that mod is maybe being a bit more hesitant now about believing this, and we can see this posted up. This is over on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, but the mod in question did respond below this, just trying to offer up a bit more clarity, mentioning that the images that were shared, they're not going to be able to show here, but they've described the images to a very reputable Nintendo source, and they said they reached out and nothing with images match up right now. And the other part is there was a Switch 2 logo that was shown, and even that's looking a bit more fake as they look at it more and more. So what were they shown? Well, it appears to have been the dock itself. All right. And there's a slot for the console in the middle, of course, as you'd expect. And the images are just that, a dock. It sort of cuts out anything in the background. And the big thing that they were showing was the logo on that dock. So they say it doesn't look like it was 3D printed, but we're in the age where 3D prints are getting very, very good. And if you get the image just right, slight blur effect or something, I kind of think you can pass it. So I was thinking they were shown the system in some way. It seems like it's just the dock, and I don't know if that's concrete enough to come back and say, whoa, this is pretty good. They showed proof. I don't know if they really did then. So this person, Next Gen Handheld, says that they are going to make a big reveal, like the full reveal on Christmas. I wouldn't put a lot of faith in that one. I would just chalk this one up to most likely being a good fake until proven otherwise. So yeah, unfortunately in this case, the mod may have gotten tricked a bit. But hey, I guess we'll find out Christmas Day when this person's supposed to show back up with full proof, and I assume then, I guess, a system being turned on and shown in video with a Switch 2 working. Next up, let's talk about a big sale that is currently going on at Gamefly. This is their year-end sale, and these would be all physical copies of these games. I will say with Gamefly, more times than not, you're going to get the game in good shape, and with the casing, not really a manual because we don't get manuals anymore, but basically it'll be complete enough to where technically, yes, you could gift it to someone. Just keep in mind that it won't be in a shrink wrap or anything. It'll be clear that it's at least used. But there are some pretty good deals to be had here, and we can see this over on their website. This will be ending January 6th, so plenty of time even after Christmas. If you have, maybe you got a brand new game console or something, you want to check out some games, technically you could double back here and check it out. But at the top, ladies and gentlemen, Skull and Bones. $5.99, it's $6. What really probably should hurt Ubisoft here is that Madam Web was being sold by Gamefly, and that was $7.99. So, yeah, technically you're $2 cheaper than Madam Web, and that's just a gut punch. We also have Immortals of Avium, that's $12.99. NHL 24 is $10. You have South Park Snow Day at $13. You have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at $20. Topspin 2K25 is $20. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is $30. You have Starship Troopers Extermination at $30. Moving over to the Nintendo Switch, you got Super Mario RPG at $35. Mario and Luigi Brothership, that one is $40. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, that's $25. Prince of Persia The Lost Crown at $20. We can move over here now to Xbox with Assassin's Creed Mirage. That one is $13. Still Immortals of Avium, that one being $10. Star Wars Outlaws at $35. Topspin also $20 here. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Unleashed at $23. So again, I just wanted to point this out. These do seem to be fluctuating from time to time, so even check back maybe the following week or a few days later, as I think most of this is just around what Gamefly has in stock, how many copies they have. So I have a feeling they probably have a ton of Skull and Bones copies just laying around, and trying to get rid of it at $6 is probably the play for them currently. So hey, if you were waiting and waiting and waiting for Skull and Bones to basically drop to the price of, well, it's actually probably cheaper than a Big Mac meal at that point. There you go. It's available right now at Gamefly. Next up, let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as it is heading to PC January 23rd. And I will say, some of the screenshots that have been shared look significantly better than the PS5 version, which, go figure. I mean, at this point, when you're rolling on some pretty powerful video cards, they do outclass the PlayStation 5 by quite a bit. But the other aspect of going to PC has to do with the modding community, and well, we could see this is posted up. This is over on the Epic Games website, where there was an interview with the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth director, that being Naoki Hamaguchi, who says, while the team has no plans for official in-game mod support, we respect the creativity of the modding community and welcome their creations. Though we ask modders not to create or install anything offensive or inappropriate. Well, that's good luck with that one, because what was just said there in this interview may as well have been a challenge to the modding community. I mean, look, that's typically what you end up with in one way or the other, right? The modding community is vast and creative. And you also have Aerith and Tifa in the game. I mean, in Cloud, what do you expect? What do you think is going to happen, right? So just based on many examples before this, yes, the modding community is going to go absolutely crazy with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe not saying anything here would have just been better, because I just feel like now there's going to be even more motivation to get crazy with this game. But I will say, outside of that, I'm sure there will be some really, really cool mods set up here for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that are genuinely creative and maybe even play into just the game aspects itself, not necessarily just the clothing or lack thereof for the different characters. So that's something I'm curious about. But also, I am interested to see how the game runs and how good it can actually look on PC, because just going by some of the screenshots, the game looks impressive on the PS5 Pro specifically. I think it's going to look like there's going to be in a whole other class with PC. So that will be really cool to see. And of course, just see how interested the PC community is in what was one of the nominations for Game of the Year in 2024 with Rebirth. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Exodus. This is a game that was first unveiled to us at Jeff Keighley's show last year, the Game Awards 2023. And it was the trailer that had like Matthew McConaughey in there, I believe. And we didn't really know technically what was going on, but it was at least something to monitor and keep an eye on for when they were ready to show the game itself, because the talent behind it was at least intriguing and worth keeping tabs on. Well, now we have a bit more insight into the game, especially when it comes to what it's going to look like and what it's going to play like. And that was all showcased in this trailer. And this video is called Exodus Gameplay Trailer, The Traveler's Creed. Now, in this trailer, you do indeed see a lot of like in-game shots that are more set up as like cinematics, but then also you see these glimpses and quick cuts of what looks like gameplay. Now, it does appear sort of that third-person action shooter style game, and it's very reminiscent of Mass Effect. Now, this is from Archetype Entertainment. It's a game development studio located in Austin, Texas, led by industry veterans from BioWare, 343 Electronic Arts, Naughty Dog, and other AAA studios. So, again, a ton of talent behind this thing, and that coupled with the fact that, yes, it looks like Mass Effect, and you have some top BioWare talent behind it. I mean, it's no wonder Mass Effect fans are very excited for what they're seeing here. Now, it is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC, but there is no release date or window at this time. People are hoping that it maybe can come out next year, but the fact that they haven't even said, like, 2025, leads us to believe, okay, maybe it is a 2026 game, but all they have to do is get this game out there before the next Mass Effect shows up, because the Mass Effect community has been going through it for a long time. Even Mass Effect 3, there was some controversy around how the ending and stuff was set up for that game. Most Mass Effect fans think back to Mass Effect 2 as like the peak, and that was forever ago, I think, at this point. Like, it feels like it was a long time ago, and Mass Effect Andromeda did its best to kill that franchise. But we are getting another one. However, it seems like before that, Exodus, I guess, will take the stage, and if it's really good, it's certainly not going to make BioWare's job any easier than if there is legit competition on the market that, yeah, when you watch a trailer, I mean, at times it's really close to Mass Effect, but hey, Mass Effect fans should be excited about having that prospect of basically two games that sort of fit into that lane. So really cool stuff. We'll keep an eye on Exodus here, I guess, as we go into 2025 and see when they're ready to tell us about it coming out and when that is. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, how do you feel if the next-gen Switch is just called the Switch 2? 56% say good, don't need to overthink it. Just Switch 2, that'll work. 33% say they just don't really care either way. And then 11% say not good, wanted something a bit more creative. Somebody in the comments made a good point. Is that game on Switch 2, like TOO? No, it's on the Switch 2. Switch 2. I don't think you're going to run into the Wii U situation with this if it's called Switch 2, but I do also see some people go, oh, it would have been cool if it was the Super Switch. Some of that creative Nintendo naming, although sometimes it does backfire, as I mentioned, with the Wii U. So, again, don't overthink it. The Switch marketing, the brand, all of that works. Just Switch 2. Just it's the Switch sequel. That's all you need to know, and if it does come down to them just putting a 2 on the end of it, as the Reddit leaker has said, okay, I think that'll work fine, and then they can do a nice little animation with the 2 coming in, and look, as long as the hardware is good and much better, I'll say, than the current Switch, because that definitely needs some help with a lot of first-party and third-party titles, but also if the games are really good to match up with it, they can pretty much call it whatever they want. I'm going to be picking it up and playing these different games from Nintendo's first party anyway. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Ram, who says, while Microsoft is moving away from having exclusives, poor Banjo is still being held hostage by them. I would actually say the strategy Microsoft is on currently, where they're putting their games on a bunch of these different platforms, and it can show up on Nintendo, it can show up on PlayStation, that actually, I would say, works in favor of Banjo making a return, because there may have been concerns of, hey, if we make this game, are we going to sell enough copies, or will there even be enough interest on the Xbox platform? If there's not enough interest there, I can tell you now, Banjo, there'd be plenty of interest with that game, a new game there, on Nintendo's platform. You could just sell it there and probably make all your money back just in one shot on that platform, and then just have it on Game Pass, put it on PlayStation, on PC, and probably make actual, like, legit money, as well as having your subscription service held up there with the title. So yeah, I actually think this would work to greenlight projects like Banjo. So this is a good strategy in that case, but I do still see a lot of people concerned around the hardware, the console itself, and if it'll still be around in like 10 or 15 years, if they don't really need it because they can then just put it on other platforms. So Again, it's a give and take. It really is. You want Banjo, this makes sense. If you want to keep an Xbox around, you're unsure about their strategy going forward with developing new hardware, maybe it doesn't make as much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Game of the Year Madness starts later on today. Keep an eye out for the poll to go up. If you wanted to see the full bracket and me kind of go over everything there with the seeding, check out the video I have below. And then also, if you want to just catch up on Newswave, maybe missed it yesterday, I'll have that linked right above. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.